Good morning, Tampa Bay. Welcome back to the show, Kristen.
Good morning. It's good to be back.
I like this rotating thing that we have, where it'll be like me and Evan, me and you, the three of us. Friday it's gonna be you and Evan. There's all
Oh,
kinds of
that's
surprise.
news to
There's all
me.
there's all kind of it's fun, but we're consistent, and that's the
You
best
know,
part.
the fans can vote on the best chemistry. I think it's me and you, obviously, but
Well, I appreciate. I would hope that I would be somewhere in the mix.
well, we appreciate you being there every day, and that's the important part,
Hey, it's my baby. I have to be here, right?
right?
Whether I'm with it or I'm not with it. Um, Last night was kind of a lull for sports, was it not? Like we had such a great weekend, especially Sunday, and then last night you're like, it's
Like
just
the
baseball.
last 2 weeks have been so exciting with
Yeah,
the schedule coming out with basketball, just all the hockey playoffs, and then like last night it was like the Rays are playing the Tigers. Cool.
yeah. Oh, big deal. And not only did they play the Tigers, unfortunately, Kristen, they lost to the Tigers 3-2, and another late deciding game. This is like becoming the new norm for this team of like, are they ever going to win a game early on? Like,
It's the thing, you don't have to turn the game on until like the 8th or 9th inning. You can go do all the things, go out to dinner, spend some family time, and then like, oh, it's about the 7th. I should turn this on and see. You really have to watch 3 innings of the game. But
yeah,
yeah, it's been tough. The bats have just been so quiet lately. And I mean, Kluber comes out, he plays better than he did his last start in Anaheim or in Los
oh
Angeles, I
yeah,
guess. And so he did get back on track. They did give up that 2-run homer. So it was good to see him get back on track. But as Cash is saying too, we don't know what's going on with the bats. And you do have your big bat Margot out right now, but these other guys got to step it up. They just can't get it done, and they're in the slump. And it's not good to be here because Detroit is a last place team. So this is somewhere where they can kind of right the ship, gain a little confidence going into that series we have coming up against the Yankees over Memorial Day. And now the Rays have slipped to 5.5 games back. And before that, Anaheim, or keep calling me Anaheim, Los Angeles series, I think they were only 2 games back before that series. So it's not, I think it's time to get a little worried.
yeah. I honestly, that was exactly I brought that up as a topic for us. Are you worried about the inconsistency? And I think the answer for both of us is yes, because the summer months. Evan pointed this out yesterday. The summer months is when you start seeing teams pull away. And you're already 5.5 games behind the Yankees. The Yankees have the Orioles right now, which they're probably going to handle. They have the White Sox coming up, which they won 3 out of 4 recently. And yet the Tigers are giving the Rays fits. Like that's cause for concern for me. And like you said, Manuel Margot is out for 10 days. And it's so inconsistent, and they're not doing anything early on in the game to where you're going, okay, yeah, now I'm confident that the Rays are going to, that they're going to win this game. You're having to sit through 8 through 9 innings and going, okay, what the hell is going to happen here? Are they actually going to win? Are they not going to win? And
there's no excitement. They like when you go these long innings with nothing happening, there's no way to build any, motivation in the dugout there. And like you said, Kluber did have a great game and he gave up those 2 runs, but we should be able to overcome those 2 runs. That shouldn't be the make or break with that. And so it's a little nervous because the Yankees are playing out of their minds. They have 9
yeah,
losses. Every time they've started a season with this kind of a record, they've won the World Series, I think every single time other than once. So they really need to wake it up. And now the Rays are a team that this happens. They come out of the gate fast. We've seen this with them. They kind of slump a little. And then after the All-Star break, they make it really, really exciting and interesting coming down to that last week of the season always. And I guess the positive thing here is they're still winning the series. They did lose the series against the Angels, but they did come back and win 2 out of 3 against Toronto. So winning these series is key, keeping that up. But yeah, they gotta I don't know what you do to wake these guys up and get these bats going.
I don't want to talk badly about Tropicana Field too much anymore because I feel like everybody's been just like ragging on it.
Beating a dead horse.
But I mean, it strikes again, right? Brett Phillips home run off the catwalk. All right, and first of all, how awesome is this? That this dude turned on the Jets the entire trip around. Like, I don't know if he was being typical Brett Phillips or if he was just like, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Like, is that
get
is that
home, just get there, you know.
yeah.
It's like football, just
And
don't stop till the whistle blows.
oh man, like this has been an issue for such a long time with the catwalk. Look, keep the arena how it is, do what you want, but like get rid of the catwalk.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to complete, because for the longest time that was the biggest gripe. Maybe more nationally than locally, because locally it's just the commute, which people are
Right.
complaining about, right?
But coming from Cleveland, I remember when I first moved here and went to a few games in the Trop, and then this whole catwalk thing happened, you know, a few years later. And coming from another place, it's weird to hear about it. I was like, people in Cleveland, like, there's a catwalk in the stadium. Well, like, they just didn't even get it. If you haven't been to the Trop, you just don't understand the whole logistics of it. And yeah, it's the dumbest thing ever. And it had the fact that Major League Baseball had to come up with a rule for this specific building feature is really strange. But no, it is definitely a weird situation for that. And it's another thing, you know. The Trop sucks, and we have this catwalk, and the commute sucks. And well, what more can we say? The air conditioning is nice.
Yeah, right. So how important, we foreshadow for the end of the month, how important do you think it is to close out the month of May with a full head of steam, and even splitting the series with the Yankees, winning 2 out of the 4? Like, I think that's got to be, and maybe they're overlooking the Tigers. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just looking ahead.
I mean, but they're looking ahead. You still have Baltimore and Miami before the Yankees, so they're
right,
pretty far ahead there. It's just beginning of the season, end of this first little part of the season, and they, like I said, they always seem to figure it out. Cash seems to tweak the lineup in a certain way to make a good change. I'd like to see a little bit more from him too.
right.
He just seems a little bit more non-complacent, a little bit maybe this year. Tonight should be maybe a good bounce back game. These two teams are both 5-5 in their last 10 games, so they're kind of trending in the same direction. Maybe Detroit's moving up a little, but and you had the homecoming for the pitcher last night, so he was playing with his best stuff. So you got to give a little credit to him there. But I think maybe you have a chance to right the ship today with the pitching matchup, and hopefully being back at home.
Yeah, I mean, you got with McClanahan on the mound, the way that he's playing throughout this season so far is you got to score like 2 runs and you're gonna win.
Yeah, I definitely pretty confident when he's on the mound. I'm feeling okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, he in Detroit sports media, I think it's funny because they're talking a lot about the Tigers are winning games, and they're winning games because of their pitching. They're not winning games because of their bats. And they're like, oh, the Tigers broke out and scored 5. Like,
I mean, you could almost say that about the Rays recently, though, too. I mean, when's the last time they scored more than 5 runs?
Right.
I don't even know. But so it's just Detroit sports media really have to talk about. Right? Come on.
Yeah.
It's like us trying to come up with stuff on Monday with no sports.
Yeah, exactly. My yesterday was very easy.
Yeah, yesterday we had a whole weekend to talk about. I was mad. I missed yesterday.
Stayed up till 1:30 watching Calgary and Dallas. Like, oh yeah, that was a hell of a long night on Sunday, and it was well worth it. When you look at the Tigers, and I didn't realize that, like, as we talk about the inconsistency from the Rays, right? And you go, okay, well, in terms of home runs, batting percentage, and RBIs, they're getting it from all over the place. Low 5 home runs. Franco's leading the team with a 279 batting average, and Margot has 21 RBIs. On the flip side, Miguel Cabrera goes down. Holy shit. Sound the alarm, Chris. He's leading with 3 home runs, 296 batting average, and 14 RBIs. Like, we know how good Miguel Cabrera is. Everybody knows how good he is. But again, leading your team in all categories, like, that's not good, right? Like, you need to be able to count on other people. And maybe Austin Meadows, once he gets past his ear infection, maybe he comes back and he starts, batting in some runs, but at least we're getting it from different sources.
You spread it out a little bit. If one guy's going to be off, another guy can pick up the slack that day, I guess. I mean, when they are doing that, I mean, if they were playing, if they were in the Tigers division, they would be winning the division. That's how bad the Central is right now. You have 500 team in second place there. So it is a little disturbing coming out of the last place of that division, coming into Tropicana Field and beating the Rays. I turned it on at work last night, clean up the bar, and I was pretty confident that, this is going to be an easy game. I'm just going to have sun in the background and look up, and it's going to be 5-0 before I know it. And so I was really actually surprised to see that, coming off the win in the series against Toronto. I don't know what to say. The inconsistency. I don't know where the pitching's been okay, other than what happened in LA. I guess the pitchers have been doing okay. We just got to make these bats up and score some runs. Get some guys on base. Bring some runs in.
Do something. I find it crazy that Wander Franco is leading the team in batting average when he was like 0 for 18 recently. Like, that's that just shows you how hot he started the season. Exactly. And then just and you're just like, okay, then he's leading the squad. And yeah, we talked about, I think he was 2 for 23 over his last 23 at bats, or 3 for 23, one of those two. And Jesus, like, that's just terrible.
But is it also just because the rest of the team is so terrible that his batting average just stayed right there?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Now,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the Tigers, I think, are kind of underachieving at this point, especially after they traded for Austin Meadows. With their pitching rotation is fairly decent, and a lot of the pessimists in Detroit media were saying, okay, the Tigers actually look formidable, and the Central is very weak, and they should win the Central. So I think it's just kind of a feeling out process. Kind of how we talked about, okay, well, are the Angels as good as we think they are? Well, after the Rays series, now they're in second place. So
right.
Are they as good? I don't know, but I think, it's still so early on in the season, but this is when you start developing your storylines and seeing your trend lines going through as this month closes. And then typically mid to late June is when you start going, okay, so there's your contending teams right there. Probably going to be the Yankees from the looks of it.
And people complain about the baseball season being so long, but the one thing, being the stat guy, there's a lot of information, a lot of numbers that, where these things are pretty on point, where in football, it could be a fluke week or something. But for the most part, baseball numbers, they tell the story throughout the season. And I was going to ask you, right now, do the Rays look like a playoff team to you? A team that can win a wild card or go, win a couple series in the playoffs?
I haven't watched enough of the other teams to give you an honest answer. Mm-hmm. I would say, honestly, like, when I'm watching the Rays, I think they're good enough to at least make the wild card currently. I don't know if I have confidence in them winning a playoff series.
Yeah, however, I'm looking at the AL standings right now, and the AL overall is just pretty weak. I mean, at the top, you have the Yankees, obviously. The Astros and Angels are tied. But, I mean, other than that, like, a lot of the second-place teams have losing records. Not a ton of winning records in the entire AL at all. So that gives me a little bit of confidence, I guess. Like, Rays are like 4th in the AL, 5th in the AL right now overall.
Right. So, and we're talking about how inconsistent they are. So.
Right. Like, we can't get them to score a run. So
what the hell's going to happen when they get consistent? Pulling away from the Yankees at that point. But yeah, it's, if you're looking at how they're playing, like, Kluber is not playing as good as he normally would. So he's starting the season off slow. You know he's going to come around. We've seen it before. We've seen how he plays when he's at, you know, optimal season. Kluber, like,
Well, as an Indians fan, I've seen, yeah, exactly, all the time. Love them.
yeah, exactly. So, do you have a hard time calling them Guardians?
I I don't think I've ever used it properly ever yet.
And I'm just curious because, like, the Redskins. I think I slipped up once on a podcast, and I like beat myself up for it because I was like, "Oh God, it's racist! I'm gonna get canceled." But I was like, I don't really care. Like they were that team for such a long time. Like you got to
It's
cut
like
somebody some slack.
I call them San Diego Chargers still. I slip up, when you are so used
Mhm.
to saying something. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't think I've ever once been like, oh, I'm a Guardians fan, or I'm from Cleveland, so like I like the Guardians. Did you see that Guardians game last night? I guess we still call them the Tribe. I don't know if that's so racist. I don't really do a lot of talking
Yeah.
about them in this market in this area anyway. So, but yeah, it's
Right.
definitely really hard. Definitely a weird thing to see it like in the standings here.
And the
Yeah.
logo's terrible too.
The logo is
That
so
doesn't.
terrible. They try to like keep the Cleveland C, put some wings on it, and
Yeah.
uh, it's a
Not
great
a not
stadium
a.
though. If you're ever in Cleveland, if you ever get a chance to check out, I think it's Progressive Field now. It used to be the Jake, but
Yep.
great stadium.
I actually went to it when it was the Jake.
Did you?
Yeah. I
It's
went to
still
it
like
over the one summer.
it's like going to. I'm gonna go see the Indians and the Jake. People in Cleveland still say that, and it's the Guardians at
Yeah.
Progressive Field, and then they just.
I'm gonna go see the Guardians. Who? Oh, the Indians. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
No, but to go back what you're talking about developing storylines, when I'm like researching for the show, honestly, Major League Baseball, nobody's really developed their storyline yet. I think the Angels had a little
Mhm.
bit with the record-setting series they had against the Rays, and the Yankees, obviously, with how they're playing right now. But if you're googling baseball stories, there's not a lot of real storylines other than this is the score of the game, and nobody's really coming out crazy right
Right.
now, and so everyone's still trying to find their identity. I think it's kind of still too early.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely is. I think we'll learn a lot about the Rays based off of their Yankee series.
Mhm.
Just because the Yankees look great. Cake schedule or not, if you got an easy schedule, you should have the record that you have. You shouldn't start the season off. Imagine having that cake of a schedule and then starting with a reverse record.
Well,
With 9
Judge
wins.
Judge is guaranteed to get hurt and go out for about a month, which always happens every single year. He'll be playing lights out, so I could almost bet money Judge is going to go out. And I'm glad it's a 4-game series because that
Yeah.
really gives you that extra game to learn the team and get to bounce back. Where taking 2 would be really great for the Rays. I think they could be happy with that. I mean, how awesome would it be if they could take 3? I mean, you're at home.
Yeah.
You got stinking Yankees coming to town. It's going to be full of Yankees fans in the Trop, and just to shut them up and win that series.
So, would you be happy with a series split as a fan?
Absolutely. I think that would be great for the Rays to take 2 from
Yeah.
that team that's so dominant. We'll see, but that's definitely, I think, going to be a good turning point, I guess, going into June, going into the summer, playing the best team in baseball, your division rival in your home stadium, and then they go out to Texas for a 4-game series after that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you got a bit of hockey tonight.
A bit.
It's back. It is back. The Battle of Florida between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm stoked for this because how many times have they fought in the last?
Kind of makes me the Battle of Florida. I'm like, like, okay, I'll compare it to this. Like when
Kristen's like, is it though?
It's when Ohio State plays Cincinnati. Okay, yeah, Cincinnati. You're in Ohio. You have a team, but like the Lightning are the Lightning. You're your repeat Stanley Cup champions, and then the Panthers. They had a great season. Obviously, the record-setting season, scoring more goals, 337 goals. But Florida is Tampa Bay Lightning land. I say.
I totally agree with that sentiment. That is the headline that all of the outlets are using. I find it crazy that the Tampa Bay Lightning went from an SEC hockey team to, oh my God, it's the Battle of Florida by the same companies. I find that absolutely ridiculous. But here we are.
And it's funny because the Panthers get to be all of Florida when Tampa's just Tampa. Like, why it should be like the Miami Panthers, you know?
I wonder if they ever considered changing that. And I think part of that actually has to do with people from Miami don't really support the Panthers.
No.
And that's I talked about this yesterday. I kind of went on a little rant yesterday where fans were complaining, going, "Well, the Miami Heat start their series on Tuesday. Why would you start the Panthers series on Tuesday?" I'm like, "Well, they don't have any say. Like they
Yes,
have no choice in
exactly.
that. TV networks say no, we're going to do this, this, and this. There is a concert at Emily on Saturday, so they have to plan around that as well. And B, people are not driving from Miami to Sunrise. It's a 45-minute drive. People don't even drive from Miami to the FTX Arena to watch the first quarter of Miami Heat playoff games. Why in the hell do you think they're going to drive almost an hour to go watch a hockey game that they don't understand?
Hmm. Yeah.
So all of that fan base is in Sunrise. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It's in West Palm. Or it's coming over from like Naples area, which I find crazy because that's an hour and a
Is
half
that a thing?
drive.
Is that a thing? I didn't know like Naples fans were or Naples people were Panthers
Yeah.
fans. Wow, that's
Um,
new to me.
I think it's kind of evenly split there between like being like Miami or South Florida team or Tampa Bay fans. It's
It's
kind of an even split.
honestly living in Florida. I am it's biased because I'm in Tampa area. I've never met a Panthers fan. I don't know one Florida Panthers fan.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know a single person. I know people that own Panthers jerseys, but I guarantee you they could not tell me who John Van Beesbrook was.
Right? If you are a Panthers fan out there, please comment and let us know. You'll be our
Yeah,
new
I mean,
favorite Panthers
or
fan.
send us a DM if you're embarrassed. Like, so, so
Well, I
as we
mean,
head into the game,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's
Go
say
ahead.
that was a segue into this year. They had nothing to be embarrassed about because they were the best team in hockey for
Yeah,
the whole season.
I mean, and they finally got out of the first round. Kudos to them. First time since '96 getting out of the first round. At least one team was able to get out of the first round that hasn't been able to for a long time.
Not even naming any names, Toronto. And they were able to get out of that series, and they went 0 for 21 or something on the power play, which is
Yep.
the ninth time a team has won the series without scoring on a power play. And they had to come from behind, and I think the last 3 wins they had to come from behind. So they weren't playing like the best team in hockey. They were playing like a team, in a wild card, ready to be eliminated. So I'm hoping that didn't give them that much. I hope that wore them out a little bit. That's what I really, that was a
Yeah.
tough series. They played against the Caps there. Both goalies, Vasilevsky and their goalie, played lights out in the series. Theirs was a little bit better than Vasilevsky, but down the stretch, boy, Vasilevsky started with those 9 saves in the overtime, and then Game
Oh yeah.
7, he knew when he needed to step it up, and he did.
Put
And
the
he
team
even
on his
said,
back.
yeah, he said we didn't play with any heart at the beginning of that series. He didn't understand what was going on, and we even commented like, what is this team? They feel like they just are playing nonchalant. So that gives me confidence going in that Vasilevsky's playing so well. And, Florida just did get out of that tough series with the Capitals. So hopefully they're a little worn out.
Yeah, I do. I hope so as well. If obviously Braden Point's going to be out for at least game 1. There's no official word as far as game 2. Stamkos thought that he would miss both games. I think there's an importance in obviously at least taking one game down in Sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that no matter which team it is, if one team goes up 2-0, hopefully it's the Lightning. But if one team goes up 2-0, is the series basically over at that point? Or do you think that they can still barrel effect?
Well, if the Panthers go up 2-0, that's going to mean the Lightning will break their record of winning after
Oh
losses.
yeah.
Yeah,
And records are made
so
to be broken, though, Kristen.
that is very true. God, if they could get out of this and like keep that record going, it's just amazing. Like the adversity
Yeah.
after a loss. I don't know. I think these teams both are pretty evenly matched. They have too much talent. The Lightning have way more experience, obviously, in the playoffs, this deep in the playoffs too. I didn't have the number, but we talked about how they played so many games because they've gone to the Stanley Cup. They played 55 playoff games in the last 2 years or something like that, some crazy
Yep.
amount. So they are a little bit worn out too. It's going to be a fun series. I don't know if I see anyone going up 2-0, but if they do, it's going to be tough to come back from that.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I think for both, because we're damn good at Emily, and
Mhm.
Bolts Nation shows up and they're very loud, and they are that extra man on the ice, and to where you're always running like power plays. You talked on it earlier where the Panthers uh laid a goose egg on the power play against the Caps in round one. Well, contrary to that, the Tampa Bay Lightning have the NHL record of 21.3% on their power play. Not just in the first round, but in franchise history. They were 7 of 33 against the Leafs, which is still I'll take 7 goals
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'll take that at any point. But are you more worried about the Florida Panthers than you were the Maple Leafs, or do you think the Maple Leafs were more of a dangerous team than the Panthers were, just based off of hunger?
So obviously, I watched the entire Tampa series. I didn't watch a ton of
Mhm.
the Panther series, but from what I was reading, it sounded like they almost sound like they were kind of playing the same too, a little nonchalant. But I think Toronto maybe wanted it more. A little bit of a rivalry there. They haven't been out of the first round since 2004. And the Panthers are playing against Ovechkin, which no matter how old he is and stuff, he's always going to be a tough guy to play against there. And the Caps had just won too, so they were giving him a tough time. They've won recently, and they had a lot of guys on that Stanley Cup team. So, oh, I think the Lightning are awakened, and I think they're going to be the
Yeah.
better team. Obviously, they've been there before. I'm curious to see. You said that Emily goes crazy. Bolts fans. Do you think there's going to be a lot of Bolts fans in Sunrise? Do you think they're making the trip over? Do you think it's going to be almost a home atmosphere?
Maybe. I think it might be like a 60-40 split. And the reason I say that is because I watched a lot of the Panthers and Caps series, because I knew that if we advanced, that's who we were going to play. So I watched a lot of that series, and there were a lot of Florida Panther jerseys in the crowd. So possibly, but I mean, here's the thing as well. That area is very fair weather when it
Oh
comes to
yeah.
fans. So are those same people that were wearing Panthers jersey, are they going to show up in a Bolts jersey now? Like I don't know. Like,
Well, it's like I think Toronto is a much more difficult place to play because
yes.
those are true diehards. You're in
Yeah.
Canada and it's the Maple
Yep.
Leafs. So I think that gave the Lightning when that crowd was into it. That gave the Maple Leafs players, it gave them the motivation, and I think it went against the Lightning. So this might be an easier away series. I think where you might have some. They're probably bussing over. They don't even have to get on a plane, I'm sure, and
Right.
unless maybe they do
Yeah.
fly. I don't know.
They
Nobody
did
wants to
fly,
drive.
actually.
Yeah,
Gabby
I think
Shirley
nobody wants to
posted
drive
pictures
that
of
drive.
getting on the plane, and I was like, for a 30-minute flight, like, come on, guys. What
I
are
think
we
I
doing
flew
here?
from St. Pete to Fort Lauderdale once. Actually, it was like international, so I had to get through Fort Lauderdale, and
Right.
it was literally like take off, and it's like, all right, we're touching down now.
And you're like, my ears haven't even popped yet. What the hell's going on here?
So they did have to get on a plane. Okay, but
Yeah. I don't think they had to. They chose to.
yeah, no. If I could fly to Miami, I would. Miami, nobody, especially on a bus. I never want to be on a bus
Right.
in Miami or South Florida traffic.
No. No, I'm totally with you. So the way I look at it is, when in terms of like who is more dangerous between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs, is I always feel like the Maple Leafs just have so much riding on them all the time because they are an original 16.
Mhm.
And they just haven't been good for such a long time. Whereas the Lightning are obviously the best team over the last 2 seasons. Hopefully it'll be the last 3 seasons.
Mhm.
Where like the Panthers are kind of like the redheaded stepchild when it comes to talking about hockey in the state of Florida. You know what I mean? And they've never really played with that edge and with like that toughness and tenacity to where you're like, "Oh wow, like this is a hard-hitting team." Yeah, they scored a lot of goals this year. They scored the most goals. They set a record. Like, but if you weren't a hockey fan, you didn't know that. If you were not a hockey fan, you knew that the Lightning won the Stanley Cup last. You know what I mean? Like that's one of those things that I look at. They go, okay, well, and maybe I'm discrediting the Panthers, but I look at it and go, okay, well, like, what do the Panthers have that makes me nervous about playing against the Florida Panthers?
Well, my answer to that be their offense. I mean, they have such a good offense that all season, obviously scoring all these goals. They come out strong, they come out fast, and Cooper's is defend first, and then score your goals. So I think that's going to be the X factor right there. This Tampa Bay, how they defend against this high flying offense. And that's what does scare me about them. Panthers have nothing to prove. They have nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting them to, we're going for a three-peat. They're just happy to be in the playoffs right now, and,
right.
And it's like, oh, maybe we can knock off Big Brother. If they lose, everyone's just going to go back to their regular job in Sunrise, Florida tomorrow. No one's going to care or lose the series. So they really have nothing to lose. And so that is scary as well, where the Lightning have a lot to prove. A lot of these guys, are big name guys. And how much do you think that point injury, do you think that really is going to be, it really hurts them, or do you think they can work around that?
I mean, if Nick Paul plays the way he played in Game 7, I think they're going to be A-okay. But I mean, whenever you lose somebody like a Braden Point, like that does hurt. He's scored the most playoff goals since 2016. So it's tough. But they don't have a super young team. They've got a lot of veterans. They've got a lot of guys that have been around the block, so to speak, and that can fill in that role. And obviously, like I said, it hurts when you lose Braden Point or any player of that caliber. But I think they're going to be okay. And I hope that it's not going to be a long term. I hope that it's one. I'd be okay if it was for the first 2 games, but I don't want an injury past the second game.
Right. And that's what's nice about this team. When you're talking about the plus and minuses, like, your stars were all minus, but these other guys are stepping up for him. And Vasilevsky, you can't say enough about the guy. He puts it on his back. He knows what he's got to do, and he beats himself up when he lets those goals in. And we said his numbers were not great. I think he's averaging about 3 goals now this postseason. But he's doing it when it counts, and that's what matters.
And yeah, that's exactly that's you couldn't have said it any better. I was trying to pull up the stats for because we released the graphic yesterday, 2 days ago, of Vasilevsky in series finale games. He's got a .888 GAA. Like, he's stopping 97% of shots. Oh, and by the way, out of the 9 games to close out a series, he's got 5 shutouts. So he steps up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm happy he's on our team. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So what are you doing for the game tonight? Are you going to sit at home and watch it?
Nope. We, wife and I are heading over to Thunder Alley. We're going to mingle with the crowd. At least that's the plans for now. Things could change. You never know, but that's the plan for now. $5, you go in and just hang out with her. I mean, it's an atmosphere, and I hope that it's going to be packed now that it's the second round. When they did the watch party, I think for Game 4, because the Lightning were playing at home. Yeah. And it wasn't that busy. There were a lot of people, but it wasn't packed. Like Game 7 at Armature Works was ridiculous. It was as far as the eye could see, of just a sea of people that apparently don't care about hockey, right? According to Michael Wilbon. But it was a sea of people, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. And I'm a big atmosphere person. Like, I like when I'm in that kind of setting. That's my natural habitat, if you will.
You feed off the vibes. Yeah.
You're like for sure.
Vibe guy.
Yeah.
That's good vibes. Home field advantage and home ice advantage, and it means so much. Like, I know like talent and everything, but yeah, when you got your crowd going for you and it's wild in there, it's so fun. Like, I love playoff time, and I just love this time because hockey playoffs are amazing. You got like hockey one night, basketball one night, hockey one night, basketball one night, and it's just so good.
Yeah, love it. Oh, absolutely. And then it doesn't hurt when we cover Tampa sports, and Tampa sports teams are doing well. Like, that's just another benefit of when you have these these good vibe events, if you will, to where you're going to watch the Lightning go for a three-peat, which hasn't been done in a very, very long time. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. That's all I
Even
can
down
say.
here in Sarasota, I got off work and stopped by our local sports bar, which I'm sure we'll be working with them, Rafferty's, just to catch the end of the game after work. And they had lines of tables outside. I think they had the big blow up TV outside. I mean, this is in
It's
Sarasota.
awesome.
There's not a seat in the house. Everyone's in there with their Lightning hats and jerseys, and so it was awesome.
And that's what you like to see. How many places in Fort Lauderdale are doing? Well, better yet, hold on. How many places in Miami are doing that? I guarantee you I can count it on one hand. Guarantee you that I could do that. Now, how many are doing it for the Miami Heat in Miami? Probably a ton.
That's true.
But if they were playing on different days, I still think the answer is less than 5. So if the series started tomorrow, right? So let's say that Dallas beat Calgary, which means that this series would actually be starting tomorrow. I still don't think that there's any support in that area for the Florida Panthers. You're talking about 45 minutes south from Tampa down in Sarasota. It's still a wall-to-wall people, blow up TVs, great atmosphere, all these fans coming together. And you can't even do it in your own city?
I feel like Jacksonville has more Panthers fans than Fort Lauderdale. I don't know why. I just feel like Jacksonville, maybe that's that coast. I have no idea. If you're a Panthers fan, please let us know. Where are you? Who are you?
They're not watching this because we're talking about hockey right now.
Maybe we're talking basketball.
Yeah, right.
Butler.
Yeah, right. Did you see the quote about Jimmy? I can't think of the guy for the Celtics. And he said, "Yeah, well, I put the clamps on KD and Giannis. I think I'll be able to handle Jimmy Butler." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting. I like that quote. Like this is what we want in the as we head towards the Eastern Conference Finals. Like that's what you want."
I am rooting for the Heat just because I want to go to a finals game. So
okay.
It's a quick drive. The only reason why I want the Heat to win. Let's go to an NBA Finals game.
Yeah, the closest I got, I went to Game 7 of the Miami Heat and Detroit Pistons, way back in 05, 06. That was the first year that the Heat won.
Was it LeBron? That was the first year LeBron was there.
Nope, no. This is when they won with Dwayne and Shaq.
Yeah. Oh
wow. Standing room only. And I remember my best friend and I were sitting on the computer looking at tickets on Ticketmaster, and we were like, holy shit, they're like $280 for standing room only. And I was like, I guess we're just gonna watch it on TV. And my dad came in and he like slid the card across the desk and he's like, you guys go have fun. And to this day, that was probably one of the best sporting experiences I've had. Outside of the top of my bucket list was to see a Lions Thanksgiving game. And my wife and I did when we destroyed the Packers with Reggie Bush. And so that was number one for me, is like, hey, I have to go to a Lions Thanksgiving game because it's like in my blood, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Game 7, standing room only, Eastern Conference Finals, absolutely insane. And I'll tell you what, standing room only tickets get a lot of gaff where they go, oh yeah, but you're at the top of the arena. You can see everything though.
Yeah, no one's telling you to sit down because you have to. And $280 like seemed expensive then. Like I don't think you can smell an arena for $280 now, and that's Game 7.
I was gonna say not in the Game 7, but that's not entirely true because Panthers tickets right now are in the 60s if you're in the 300 level right now for Game 1 tonight.
Really?
And that's before people stop dropping their price. The closer you get to the game, the closer in or the deeper into the first period you get, the prices start dropping. You watch like the Game Time apps and your Stub Hubs and things like that, and go, where are the fans? Where, like, that has nothing to do with the Miami Heat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you want to go watch a playoff game, you're gonna go watch a playoff game. It doesn't matter what else is going on, right?
Because I can't. There's probably not a regular season ticket for the Lightning at $60.
Yeah,
maybe the top row, but I'd be hard pressed to find, and that's a playoff series.
Yeah, yep. I mean, I know, back in the day, When Datsuk and Zetterberg were still in the Red Wings, my dad and I went to a Red Wings and Panthers game, and we sat on the glass for like $40.
That's
It was
awesome.
obviously it was regular season, but literally row one. I was the guy sitting there go boom, 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 boom on the glass, and then getting the shit scared out of me when a puck would hit the glass by me, thinking that it was every time the puck hit the glass by me, I thought it was going to shatter, and I would be like bracing for dear life,
It
and
is.
yeah,
It's terrifying. I've never sat on the glass, but I mean, things flying, you just forget the glass is there, and people
right,
have gotten hit. But that'd be awesome.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Not a
Oh,
whole lot going on.
wait,
What's
is this a Panthers fan? Glenn P. Go Cats.
Glenn? I
Is
would
that?
assume so. Is that what you guys call the Panthers? Did you call the Panthers cats?
I guess
I
what else
don't
could we
even
be
know
talking
this.
about? Unless he's talking about Detroit Tigers.
It's possible.
Do you call them cats? I don't know.
No, call them the Tigers.
We might have found a Panthers fan, and oh wow,
Yes, Glenn
yes,
P is a Panthers fan.
and they call
Shout
them
out to you, Glenn.
And I did not know that. So thank you. Now we know when they're yelling in the arena, go Cats. That's what it means. It's easier to say than Panther. It's one syllable.
Do you think there's going to be a louder "Let's Go Bolts" chant than "Let's Go Cats" chant tonight?
You might
I'm
be able to
asking
hear it
you and
from
Glenn.
Armature Works over in Sunrise. You could probably hear that.
That's the goal. I mean, if obviously Greg Wolf wanted us to be so loud that they could hear us from Armature Works in Toronto. Not possible. But they could, we could possibly be loud enough for them to hear us in Sunrise.
That's funny.
So, yes, we call them
Might be
cats.
close.
It might be close. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is like, and I get it. That whole area is very transient. I get it. But it's when you go to a Miami Heat playoff game, it's all Miami Heat, whether they're, fair weather fans or real fans. It's all Dwayne Wade jerseys, all Jimmy Butler jerseys. You know what I mean? Like it's all Miami Heat fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that because I spent most of my life in Southwest Florida, but I've been to 40 plus Miami Heat games, like that was my thing. I've been to a bunch of Panthers games because you could go to a Panthers game for $10. Like who wants to? I can go to an NHL game for $10. Sign me up. I don't care if I got to drive an hour. I'm cool with that, and it's unfortunate.
Too, Tampa is a transient town too. Everyone here is from more Midwest, where over there you get more Northeast. But that's the one thing about the Lightning. They've been able to develop this culture, which the Rays have finally started to get. But the Rays for so many years couldn't get their own fans. It was Cubs fans or Red Sox fans, or every time a team played, the stadium was full of those fans. And I know a lot of people from other places. I was talking to some friends of mine from Chicago. I saw them at the watch party and said, "Aren't you Blackhawks fans?" They said, "Yeah, but we live here now, and the Lightning's in it, so we're going to support the Lightning." And they've built this culture of transient people. I'm a diehard Lightning fan, and I didn't even watch hockey growing up, so
right.
They've done a good job with that. But Miami, it's hard to develop any sort of culture unless it's the Latin culture, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, for me, what I noticed is there are a lot in this area specifically. There are a lot more fans that are Lightning fans that like are not Bucks fans or are not Rays fans. It's like, oh, like I like the Cowboys and I like the Twins, but I'm a diehard Lightning fan because it's the culture of the city where this is a hockey town. As weird as that sounds, Tampa Bay is a hockey town. It's not a football town and it's not a baseball town.
No,
it doesn't matter how good the Bucks are.
The GOAT who just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and we're like, yeah, but we're trying to three-peat for the Stanley Cup right now, so nobody even cares about that.
Right, which is crazy, like, and I'm not saying that we don't have a lot of locals that are like, well, it's the local team, I love them, right? But I've noticed that is from just talking to different people like at watch parties. You're like, oh, you're wearing a Lightning jersey, but I noticed you've got a Chicago Bears tattoo on your calf. What's up with that, dude? Like, oh no, that's the Cleveland Reds or Cincinnati Reds. Oh, it's the same logo. They're so original.
I have to say too, the Bolts have the best logo. Like if I'm gonna wear a Tampa hat, I do like the Rays with the R and the sunshine. But if I'm gonna wear a hat sporting a Tampa team, come on, the Lightning Bolt The circle is so good. I think of the three teams,
Yeah.
yeah, the
I mean,
marketing and the logo.
I have it somewhere in here, but the Bucco Bruce. That's probably one of my favorite logos. This I got my whole hat collection. This guy right here.
Oh yeah, with the
That's like one of my favorite logos too. It's just I'm a huge nostalgic guy. I'm like I'm a retro junkie
this is
and
your Ultimate Warrior shirt you have on today.
oh, always. I have to. But like I just noticed that it's more common here to where if you're down in South Florida, it's more of like, yeah, I like the Dolphins, I like the Heat. Marlins are cool. You guys also have another team. Like and that's the thing that's like I said, that's why I've been able to go to so many Panthers games when I was younger. As soon as I got my license, my cousin lived 5 minutes from the arena.
Man, I
My
didn't know
buddy and I
now,
would
but it might even be like the U might be the biggest team in Miami to get support, and it's a college team.
yeah, yeah. And they
Maybe
haven't
the
been good in such
Dolphins.
a long time.
I don't know.
But
Sorry for bringing up the U on this show.
no, it's okay. I'm a Michigan fan.
I
I'm
know.
sure you knew that. We'll
So I
talk
got to
about
go
that.
now.
Maybe.
My
Oh,
lovely.
Kristen is signing off for the day. No.
Let's get my water here.
As we try to really talk about the Buccaneers, obviously we're at that lull right now of the offseason where there's not a whole hell of a lot happening. Kobe Smith and Austin Watkins were cut yesterday to get under the 90-man count for their roster. You might be saying, who the hell is Kobe Smith and Austin Watkins if you're not, deeply intertwined in Buccaneers roster, but Kobe Smith was on the practice squad for the last 2 years and Austin Watkins was signed in January. And now, unfortunately, you never like to see anybody lose their job, like that's the NFL though. And they're at 90 people on the roster right now. They got to get down to 53 very, very soon. So that's just where you are. That's how it works.
So I did see Cynthia Froyland did her models or whatever from NFL Network where she runs her thing. I really actually like her because she has some like science and math behind.
She's one of my more interesting people to watch when she's doing her predictions.
Yeah, and she has the Bucs at 11.7 wins. Came out that yesterday, which you got to round up to 12. And she's got them. She has the Bucs with the best record in the NFC, finishing the season with 12 wins. So she thinks, she thinks it's going to be a hard year with no one beating 12. Their odds to win the Super Bowl are plus 800. To make the playoffs, minus 650. So it looks like overall everyone's in consensus that the Bucs are going to win the South. They're going to make the playoffs, and a good chance they could win the Super Bowl. But yeah, she's got them at 12 wins there. I think that's right around where we finished them in our rankings.
Yeah. We had because I know Hard Rock had them at 11.5. Cynthia has them at 11.7. So I mean that's pretty much the consensus across the board. I'm still never really sure how Vegas gets their odds, but I know how Cynthia Freeland gets her odds because she tells us.
Yes. She's just full of information. Like when she comes on, I get my pen and paper and I got to take notes. Class is in session,
Right. Everybody stop talking. Leave me alone. I think that the consensus is also Buffalo and Tampa in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think that's been pretty much cut and dry, whether you're looking at DraftKings or BetMGM or any of the sports books. I think that you've got, I think it's Buffalo, Tampa, and then I think the Rams are third. And then the Chiefs dropped to fourth.
I say the Chiefs got to be up there somewhere. Buffalo's scary, and what's scary about them is Stephon Diggs is happy where he was unhappy and playing so well in Minnesota. Now that he's happy, and if Josh Allen stays healthy, everyone's already putting him up as MVP. It's just Buffalo looks scary, and if the Bucs meet them, in the Super Bowl somehow, I think that would be a really, really interesting matchup where that I could say it could be changing of the guard if. Josh Allen is just improved year after year after year. That it would be fun to see him versus Brady in a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. If Buffalo can get a running game going, that's going to be they're already scary. But that Buffalo team will be damn near unbeatable if they can get a running game going.
Yeah, even with the three, they had Singletary, Breda, and Moss. Like each of them getting like 20 yards a game, but that was 60 yards enough. That's just
Yeah.
one
Like,
guy step up. And where is the Super Bowl this year? Is it
Arizona.
Arizona? Okay.
Yep. So the Buccaneers are going to play in that stadium twice then this season because they'll play on Christmas and they'll play in the Super Bowl. Look at
So
that.
they're going out for Christmas just to to walk through, get a feel of the
Yeah.
place.
Okay. Yeah. It's cold as hell in the desert. Okay. Sure. Let's do that. So, interesting. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter, but LeBron James asked for a Q&A on Twitter yesterday, and the GOAT responded back to him. And he said, "You and me, 5 rounds, ice hockey shootout. Who wins?" And that's that's Tom Brady being Tom Brady. That's the beauty of having guys like Tom Brady. And I know Gronk's not on the team currently and might not end up being on the team this season, but he's still affiliated with the Buccaneers. And that's what just makes it entertaining because these guys love to troll. And that's the best part, because it's so entertaining. And you go, man, I don't even want just bring back Gronk as like a player coach. Have him be like a Udonis Haslam, where he just sits on the bench and just like talks shit and has fun, right? Like,
let's let him run the Bucs social media. Like, just get Gronk take over social media this season.
There we go.
Sidelines with his phone, like taking Snapchats, whatever. And it's good to see when some guy, the GOAT, who's so good and so serious and takes this game so serious and his body and his health, to go on social media and be able to crack jokes and have fun. Now, do you think either of them can ice skate?
Probably not. I mean, maybe recreationally.
Yeah,
where you're kind of like
Tom Brady, he's got like little girls. So I guess LeBron has daughters too. Maybe he took them out to the rink, but I would love to see them to just try to race on ice skates.
They're skating like Happy Gilmore.
So that would just be so fun. I would love to see that. So please make that happen.
So LeBron in typical LeBron fashion had to ruin it and said, "Me barely," and then said, "I would have to shoot from my knees." So we know he can't skate based off of that, but come on, stop being so corny, LeBron.
I know.
Like, just why? You don't need to be. And that's something I want. We'll close the show with that. Everybody always talks about, especially the LeBron James fan base, is LeBron James would be the greatest at X, right? Would LeBron James excel in other sports outside of basketball? Like, they always talk about, oh, he'd be a great tight end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but would he? We don't know.
Well, he did play football in high school and at St. Vincent Mary, and he holds every single receiving record in the high school there.
Right.
But I mean, also he's an athlete. I mean, beyond means. In high school, he was still skinny, but he looked like more of a man than anyone. St. Vincent Mary does have a good football team. My brother was the athletic director there. Only reason why I know so much about St. Vincent Mary.
I was like, wow, I opened up a can of worms. I was hoping for a yes or no. Well, I can't deep dive.
I remember I was at one of his games one time watching, and I'm looking through the program, and it's got records, all the history, and it's like LeBron James. And I think that's the first time I realized LeBron had actually played football. But yeah, he'd be a great tight end maybe in, college, maybe not even in like the SEC. I think, he would be good, but he's not an NFL football player. I don't think so. He can catch the ball. He's got big hands and he's tall, but his skill set is basketball.
Right. And like, we saw the quotes from Peyton Manning back in the day. Oh, I'd throw so many touchdowns to LeBron James. And you're like, well, what's LeBron James vertical when he's got a full set of pads on?
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's different. And football speed is totally different. Like, you look at like Marquise Goodwin, right? He's not, he was trying out for the Olympics. He's not, he is super fast in the NFL. Wasn't that fast outside of the NFL. Same with DK Metcalf. And because it's different, and that's not taking anything away from him, right? But it's just the translation between sports usually doesn't ever never adds up.
I would say your guy, Calvin Johnson, he could jump, he could catch that ball. He was not going to be great at basketball.
Right.
I mean, LeBron doesn't. I see LeBron maybe comparable to him if you size and stuff like that. But yeah, Kelvin Johnson's not going out there running up and down the court and shooting threes. And great player, great athlete. He can jump, but doesn't mean he's going to be a great basketball player.
What would happen to LeBron James if he was running across the field? And rest in peace, Sean Taylor, but he met up with Sean. Like, come on.
Whew. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like LeBron is known for his flopping. You can barely touch him on the shoulder, and the guy's on the ground crying. So yeah, you get some cornerback just flying at you. LeBron would be out of the game first play.
And that's not saying that I don't like LeBron James. I love LeBron James as a basketball player. I own like 9 LeBron James jerseys.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of LeBron.
I can't associate with LeBron James fans, and that's what it really boils down to. Because the guy walks on water. He's the greatest at this, the greatest at that. Look, he closed his eyes when he was shooting free throws. Dude's a career 83% free throw shooter. You need to have both of your eyes open because you can't shoot free throws. I don't get it. Tom Brady, I think, would beat LeBron James in hockey.
He's more suave. He's got more finesse. The way he sits back in that pocket. It just seems like I feel like he could be like in the Olympics, like triple sow cow, triple axle, or whatever those things are.
How do we make this happen? We have to get LeBron James and Tom Brady on the ice to do a 5-goal shootout.
We do have that new ice rink opening here in Sarasota soon. So maybe for a grand opening, get Tom Brady. I'll just make a call.
There you go. Yeah. Be like, hey, it's Kristen with Channelside. There you go.
Yeah. We go way back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I think Tom Brady would definitely. I'm calling Tom Brady would beat LeBron James by like 4 goals.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean,
is
because
Vasilevsky going to be there goaltending?
and that's the thing. Like, is the net open? Is it going to be, like when they put the little wood up there and they have the little hole in it? Like, is that what is right? Like, I don't know. Empty net. If Vasi's there, it's going to be 0-0.
It's going to be a really long game. Yeah.
Could you imagine though? Let's just say hypothetically, Kristen, they did that. And they put Vasi in the goal, and one of them, doesn't matter who it is, but one of them scored. You would never hear the end of it.
Vasi might retire. It wasn't even in a game. It was in an exhibition thing, and he got scored on by a non-hockey player. Hey, they're both goats. I can.
And that's the point. Now, all 3 of them are goats. Let's be real here, because Vasi's resume is piling up as to be right up there in the top 3, top 4 of all time. And he hasn't been playing very long. So if he can stay where he's at right now and we keep doing this show, you and I 10 years from now could be like, yeah, no problem. Admit
first, we called it.
That's right. we're gonna throw a clip back and people are gonna be like, who are those young whippersnappers talking about Vasi's the goat? That was me back in the day. Oh boy, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us today. I think we've done everything. Tomorrow should be interesting. We'll see what happens tonight down in Sunrise. We'll have a lot to unpack and a lot to dissect. Probably be pretty Bolts heavy tomorrow morning, I'm assuming. And we'll see if the Rays can get it done in game 2 against the Tigers, especially with McClanahan on the mound. We got to get some sort of bats to come alive and just generate some runs, because McClanahan is going to stall out a lot of batters.
Rays going to score 5 runs tonight. Colin.
Oh, wow, you're going straight prediction with a number and everything.
5 runs. It's his 5th start for this pitcher out of Detroit. He hasn't won one yet. He's okay, but I think the Rays, they need to right the ship. I'm calling it today. 5 runs.
I'm gonna say the Rays win 4-1.
Okay. I didn't say win. I don't know how many Detroit's gonna score.
No, I'm gonna say the Rays are gonna win 4-1.
All right.
And if not,
predictions are true.
Right. And if it's not even close, then I'm going to blame you, because I wasn't planning on giving a prediction for a score. Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure you turn it on around the 7th inning and you'll find out all you need to know.
I'll be streaming it from Thunder Alley. Good Lord. All right. That's going to do it for us this morning. I am Danny. That is Kristen. This is Channelside Sports in the morning, and we will catch you once again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on all of our social media platforms. See ya.